Hi, everybody. I'm Donna Terrell, and welcome to Terrell Talk. I have a great discussion planned for you today, something that's actually very near and dear to my heart because I've been through it. We are talking about the Arkansas Single Parent Scholarship Fund. First of all, they're having a big event that's coming up. By the time this airs, that event will be 2 days away, but this will also run after the event. So we're going to talk about the organization, we'll talk about the event and all that goes along with that. I want to welcome Jen Lawrence. She is the executive director.
Nope, Chief Communications Officer.
She is the Chief Communications Officer. Glad we got that out of the way. Of the Arkansas Single Parents Scholarship Fund. And my good friend Lisa Fisher. Everybody knows Lisa.
Well, I don't know anymore.
Well, you know.
If you're over 45, maybe.
Well,
these younger kids are going, who?
Yeah, well, former radio host, podcaster now,
Yep.
and just extraordinaire of so many different things.
You're sweet.
And also raised by a single
That's
parent.
right.
You are the keynote speaker of the event,
Yeah.
which is really, really cool. And you will talk about what it was like being raised by
will.
a single
will.
parent. Single mom or single dad?
It was a single mom.
Okay. We'll get to that in just a minute. But
Okay.
first, I just want to talk about the event just quickly and get that out of the way. It's October 2nd at the City Center. It's a luncheon event. Tell me about it.
Yes, so October 2nd, come on out to City Center in Little Rock, where we're going to have a big celebration of our single parent students and their champions. So we are going to honor Arvest as well as UALR and the Arkansas Community Foundation for being such incredible supporters of our single parent students, as well as honor our first ever Distinguished Alumna Award. Takima Simpkins is from Hot Springs, and she is already just knocking it out of the park. She's working, she's being a role model for her students and giving back to Arkansas Single Parent Scholarship already. And as well as we're going to have the lovely Lisa Fisher come and speak, as well as have a student speaker and an alumna speaker. So
Okay.
it's going to be a great event to come together as a community and lift up single parent students.
That sounds awesome. And as we were discussing earlier, there are somewhere in the neighborhood of 130,000 single parents in the state of Arkansas.
So odds are you know a single parent.
Yes, or you are a
Or-
single
yeah.
parent. Yeah, I was a single parent. So, you know, I lived through it. But I'm really curious to hear from you. And one of the things I do want to specify is, even though we were talking about this great event that's coming up, this will likely be accessible to people after the event. So I want you to stay with us because we're going to talk about some information that you might be able to share with folks who need the help. We're really talking about enriching the lives of single parents and their families. Lisa, you grew up in a single parent home. First of all, how many children and what was that like? What was the experience like for you?
My story has some heartbreak to it, and I have triumph in the end. And next week, I'll tell the story about a girl who was raised in a similar situation and how she triumphed. Because here's what I know. The love of a single parent is why I'm here right now. I had a mother who adored me. I didn't know I wasn't in the Smithsonian. I thought I was the only child ever born. So my mother and father had me. My mother had 5 miscarriages before she had me, so there was 16 years difference between my brother and me. We were in outside New York City, so raised in a different environment than the friendly South. There were single parents in my neighborhood. This was, the 60s and 70s. Now it's obviously more common. We know that with broken families and divorce rates. But my mother struggled a lot. She struggled.
Did you know she was struggling at the time?
No, because I lived in La La Land. Again, remember, she told me that life was wonderful because I was a part of it. And I was like, okay, go ahead. What else? And so that was my life.
I
but
can only imagine you as a child.
I was this. I was this,
yes.
yeah. I didn't know everyone wasn't an extrovert who wanted to be on TV. Like, I'd pull my friends into my little schemes I would do, and they'd go, I go, what? You don't want to be a star?
What's the problem?
Right. I always wanted to be a star. And because I was close to New York City at that time, my mother wanted me, she'd considered me for modeling and some other things. I'm glad I didn't take that route because that often doesn't end well for young children. For adults, I think when you have the ability to make those decisions. But my mother struggled with addiction.
Oh, my.
Alcoholism, suicide ideation, mental illness. And, she was the victim of a lot of abuse, physical abuse.
Okay.
And this is what I think. I think so much about her because she had this beautiful red hair, and I had these red-haired children, right? And it was a God wink for me that I had these beautiful red-haired children. I have a red-haired grandchild who's biracial with red hair.
I love it.
It's textured hair, and it's red.
I love it. I love it.
I'm telling you, you can't go anywhere with her without people going,
I know. It's like, I got to touch her hair.
and now I got to touch her hair, and it's red. And so it's in a little fro. It's the cutest thing. So it's just a sweet reminder just of my mother's genetics. And sometime we'll discuss, you have to have 2 copies of the red hair gene to get
the red hair.
So my biracial son-in-law on his black side had a red-haired aunt who was black.
Oh, my word.
And
so that's how it happened.
He carried it, and then my daughter's a redhead.
Yeah, and she carried it.
And so I say all that just because it's a sweet reminder because
Of your mom.
I have my mom who was funny and adored me and all these things. My father ran around with Rodney Dangerfield in New York. There were siding salesmen because all the Jewish men in New York were siding salesmen. And, I mean, just crazy, played the comedy.
They were what? They were siding as in homes.
Yes, that's
Put
what.
siding on your home.
Are there homes in New York City?
Well,
I know, you think of brownstones.
That's right. You think of brownstones, but outside in Queens and Staten Island and other places, they put siding up.
Yeah.
And so there was a movie in the 80s called 10 Men. It was about all the little Jewish men. They were all little Jewish men that were selling the siding. So my father was a part of that. It ran around with these people in New York and in Jersey. And so that was my life, was really about performing and being funny and all that. But there was just a lot of hurt that I was doing that because a lot of times when you come up in addiction, and if you have a single parent who's sad, because I knew my mother had sadness, but I couldn't figure out the root cause of why. But I thought, if I'm funny, then she won't drink.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't responsible for her behavior.
Yeah,
you
but
know,
you felt like you were, because I mean that's part of
I
it.
was
especially being a kid. You feel like
an only
if
child
only-
to a single parent. I
Right.
felt like the onus was on me.
Yeah, of course.
And it wasn't.
No.
And she had to break free from that. And, she never did. And so I just kind of wonder, because I thought so much about what if she had the opportunity. Someone said, you know what, we've got money for you to go to trade school and you can do this. Because I love trade schools. I love college. But now that I'm seeing that there are a lot of people that walk out of college with a lot of debt, I don't want that to happen either.
Well, you know what, Lisa, and I think a lot of people can relate to that, especially people who've gone to college and they look back now and they see all of these trades. That's kind of big.
Yeah.
I do want to get though into this organization because we are talking about scholarships and we are talking about giving single parents the opportunity to get out of poverty. And Jen, you were telling me, I think you gave me a number here, 35% of the single parents are living in poverty. Are those the ones you're targeting?
Yes, so we're helping medium to low income single parents. I think it's our eligibility is like 250% of the federal poverty line. So we're here to be a support system for them to lean on as they navigate higher education, whether that is trade school or colleges or universities. And we're here to help them balance parenthood, balance their work life, balance their education, and help them get to that finish line, get a new degree, pursue a job with family supporting wages that lifts their whole family from poverty and shows their kids how to do the same thing.
So is it, I mean, you mentioned some other things in there. So is it just really focusing on the scholarships? It sounds to me like
we're more than a scholarship.
Right. It's helping the whole the whole person, if you will.
Yes, so we pair our scholarships, which are different. First of all, our scholarships are a little different. They are non-traditional, flexible. We give a check a direct deposit directly to the student so that they can pay for any financial obstacle in the way of their degree. So most, scholarships go directly to the school, but ours is so that they can pay for gas to get to and from classes, for childcare, for bills,
So
for
how
groceries.
much is a scholarship?
A full-time scholarship is $1,600, and they can apply 3 times a year, spring, summer, fall. And so 16 times 3 is the maximum amount you can receive from us in a year. And it's prorated for part-time single parents because not everyone can go full-time.
Well, most people have to work.
Yeah, and so then
And have kids.
Yeah, because they have kids. They have to
right.
work.
And the success of our program is that we pair that with support services. So our staff and volunteers are a listening ear, providing mentorship, connecting our single parents with different resources in their community. So for example, here in Little Rock, we connect our students with Habitat for Humanity so that they can,
Get a home.
get a home. But we also host home buying workshops so they can repair their credit and learn more about the home buying process, how to write a resume, mental health. Another student she had out in Fort Smith lost her job, reached out to us and said, I don't know what to do. And our program manager said, hey, let me help you rewrite your resume. Let's apply for SNAP benefits. And she found a new job that not only said, hey, we'll help you go back to school, we'll give you a promotion when you finish.
Oh, wow. That's
So-
major.
Yes.
Yeah,
So it is just a whole support system along with that flexible aid to help them stay in school.
I mentioned early on that this is a topic that's near and dear to me because I was a single parent. And full disclosure, I didn't get married until 6 years ago. My daughter, and this is not a story about grief, but my daughter passed away back in 2011. So I was a single parent to her as a teenager and through her adult life. I mean, I was still a single parent because that's just how it was. But it's interesting, Lisa, with something that you said, because I will never forget when she said to me, she said, Mom, I never knew we were poor. And I was college educated, but, finishing school and getting that first job out of college, it did not pay very much. I made $13,000 my first year. And, first, second, third, fourth, fifth. I mean, it was like not very much money. And so we lived in a little 1-bedroom apartment, but I tried my very best to make that girl feel special. Made her feel
I know you
special.
did.
And as she grew and blossomed, she too ended up going to college. There's so many evils out there today that can, when a mom or a dad is trying to go to work, they can't always be there to watch over that child. Do you offer any kind of services that help support, that structure to just kind of make sure that the kids are safe?
So we do a lot of referrals. So while we may not provide childcare or a safety, we will connect single parents with childcare providers or, other resources. A lot of campuses have programs on campus. So we make sure to connect them with those to help them balance everything in their life that they're juggling.
And that's awesome. We have some photos, and Kate, I'm not going to go in any specific order, but these are young people, or I should say parents, who will be recognized at your event on October 2nd. So let's just take this first one. And you actually chose my favorite one, Kate, the one where the young man, the son, is wearing that bow tie. That is so cute.
He's a doll.
Tell
me about this lady right here.
That's Takeda Juster. She is graduating this fall with a healthcare degree, and she's currently working for Blue Cross Blue Shield of Arkansas.
Awesome.
And so with her degree, she'll be able to have more career momentum and promotions and have more opportunities. And she's actually enrolled online at the University of Phoenix.
Oh.
So she's enrolled in an out-of-state school, but we also, do in-state schools as well. And so that's her son, and I believe he's the musician of the family. Oh. So he loves to play music, and I think he's 17, and so she's already helping him apply for scholarships, think about where he's going to school next, because she's being the role model for their family to go and show them how to navigate that higher education system. And so Takeda is our student speaker, so she's going to share her story. And I know she talked about how before she went to school, she didn't have confidence. She didn't think she could do it. And through, us saying, yes, you can, she's just gained so much confidence in herself as a student, as a mom, as a career woman.
That's so nice to see. We have more pictures too, and they will all be recognized. But I think the real story here is the fact that all of them, are an inspiration to other single parents out there.
Not other single parents, their children, their family members.
Yeah.
We had one time a student speaker, and she's like, I went back to school, and my mom went back too.
That's awesome.
And I had a single dad out in Stuttgart. He went to like a class reunion, and he said, yeah, I went back to college, and all his friends were like, wait, what? Like, maybe we should look into that too. And I remember him telling me how he was nervous to go back because he's with a bunch of 20-year-olds and he's in his, 30s and 40s. And then those 20-year-olds look to him for inspiration in the classroom. Mm-hmm. And he was a role model even to them as someone like, he has his life together. Yeah, it's hard, but he's doing it. He's providing for 2 girls and going back to class. And these single parents, they touch so many lives.
And you know what? And I guess I didn't really think about it in that way, how they touch so many other lives. There's a young lady, we've seen her twice. Kate put her up there. You probably saw me trying to talk to Kate. Kate, next picture. There we go.
All right, the lovely Carrie Terry.
Yeah.
She is out in Fort Smith, a UAFS graduate, and she went through our program, and she is now fully employed at OE&G, I think, out there.
Okay.
But she has just a wonderful story. She has a single daughter and is ready to share. She's spoken at several of our other Fort Smith events, and just a powerful speaker sharing how our scholarship just transformed her life for her and her daughter.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. Do you have a hard time at all reaching some of these single parents out there, getting the message out that this is available to them?
Sometimes, but we count on community partners like Fox 16, like other media, word of mouth is how we get around. I'm the marketing director. I pay for all this marketing, but word of mouth is how we spread the word, and we reach out directly to schools. And this fall, we actually had record-breaking scholarship application numbers.
Oh, wow.
Over 1,700 across the state, and it is 130% increase from last fall.
How do you qualify? Because I don't think everyone would qualify, correct?
So no, we do have quite a few eligibility requirements. So you have to meet our definition of a single parent, which is divorced, widowed, separated, or never been married. You do have to have 50% custody, at least 50% custody of a child, and there's special exceptions for if your child is disabled and older. But we have grandparents who apply. We have aunts.
Yeah.
We
Think
have
about it. Who's raising
my
the next
goodness.
generation? Never thought of that.
I didn't think of that either.
We have a grandmother out in Texarkana who worked all her life in restaurants, and she was like, she gained custody of her grandchild and was like,
Wow.
I'm going back to school. I got to provide for him better.
Those are the people that my heart goes out to, because I'm at an age where my peers are raising grandchildren because of mental illness, addiction, abuse, death. I mean, things that weren't on your bingo card for that family.
Right.
And I really admire them.
Yeah, so eligibility of being a single parent, custody, you do have to maintain at least a 2.0 GPA, but right now we're averaging a 3.1.
Oh, well, that's good.
It's really...
Those single moms and dads are crushing it.
Well, you know what, and they're smart. They're single parents for whatever reason.
Yeah.
How often though do you find, say, a teenager who had a child and now she is in a position where it would behoove her to get some amount of training?
We do. Most of our recipients are in their 20s and 30s. We do have a few in their teens, though. One that comes to mind is a UALR graduate. He had a child when he was 16, 17, and he wanted to be a music major. Here it is. He plays clarinet. He wants to be a music teacher.
So he had primary custody then.
He did.
Wow.
And so he went to UALR. Him and his family raised his son, and through our workshops, he started a 529 savings plan for his son
Awesome.
that he never would have known about. But
Story idea.
Yeah, exactly.
and And so, yes, we have some teenagers, but we're here for whenever they're ready to go back to school.
You have quite a bit of a broad range.
But Donna,
from
how
the
did you do
teenager.
it? I know your story, but I don't know if I know you, because I remember I called you one time after you posted it in Life in Chenal years ago, and I either messaged you or called you or sent a carrier pigeon. I don't remember. I mean, it was
I think
15
it was
years
carrier
ago.
pigeon.
Whatever.
It's been a while.
Right. But I remember I was so choked up reading that. It was so brave of you to tell it. But you lived at home, didn't you?
So I always say that these shows aren't about me, but my name is on it.
Right. And
No, I don't
can
mind telling you.
connect.
In fact, I love talking about it, and I've always wanted to be an inspiration to others.
Oh, you are.
I'd like to believe I accomplished
You
that
are.
through
Yes.
through all of these years.
Yes.
But I was 15 years old when I got pregnant,
Wow.
and I grew up in Michigan and lived in a small town, and everybody was talking about me, and they weren't saying nice
And
things.
you had a teacher, I remember now.
Oh my God, you are so good, Lisa. You are so good.
I don't remember where I parked,
No,
but
well,
I
let me-
remember
well,
the
let
fact
me-
that you had a teacher
I
who
will-
inspired you, because I
Well,
never forgot that.
this is what happened. As I grew, I decided I didn't want to go back to school. And so, I would wake up in the mornings and I would just sit in the living room, and Mom and Dad would say, "What's going on?" It's like, "I don't want to go to school today," or better yet, "I'm not going to school today." And they weren't doing anything about it.
They were scared of you, I guess.
No, they weren't
I mean, you
afraid.
weighed what, 100 pounds?
About that, they weren't really afraid. I think they were just, she's going through a lot. This was not on her bingo card, and it disappointed my mother to the nth degree. I mean, she loved her daughter, but it was such a disappointment to her. And so I will never forget. I was sitting in the living room one morning, and the phone rang. Back in the days when it was dial-up,
Yes, right.
ring, ring, ring.
It
Hello.
rang on a wall.
It was on a wall, one of those long cords. Okay, I'm dating myself here, but that's okay. I mean, it is what it is. And it was my counselor who had spoken with my journalism teacher.
That was it. Wow.
And she asked my mom, she said, "Is Donna dropping out of school?" And I would later find out that my journalism teacher told my counselor, "Call her mother because I think she's dropping out, and we can't have that."
Wow.
And that's how I ended up
Makes me
back in
cry.
school.
It's-
But they put me in an alternative education school for that brief amount of time, for the remainder of that school year, which was good and bad. Number one, it was good because it got me back in school, because I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed to be in front of all my friends. Back then, it wasn't a badge of honor to get pregnant as a teen. It was like, "Oh my God, what have you done to yourself? You've ruined your whole life." But going to that little room where all these other pregnant girls were from the region made me realize that, Donna, you can do better than this.
Wow.
It was like, as I would sit there.
Why is she the keynote speaker?
I would
Let me be the MC.
No.
To let you know, Donna is our MC, so
I would-
we got both ladies at the event on October 2nd.
I would sit there and think to myself, "Girl, you don't belong here.
Wow.
You don't belong here." But I was no different than any of those other girls. We were all pregnant. We were all in high school. We were all dealing with the same thing. But that's how, in my mind, I differentiated myself from everyone else. That's why I went to college. That's why I ended up majoring in broadcasting. That's why I have the career that I do. And I had a very supportive mom. Yes, I disappointed her,
I could
but
cry.
she was like, I'm going to look after my girl here. I'm going to look after my girl. And when that baby came, she was the happiest grandparent. She and my dad were the happiest
it.
grandparents. And as it turned out, Quaya, my daughter, was the only grandchild they ever had. Was
Stop
it.
it.
And if I hadn't had that baby,
Oh, I'm going to weep. That is precious.
so that's that. In a
Every
nutshell
baby is a blessing.
Every baby is a blessing, and I can remember my mom saying, because I didn't want to have a baby. My mom said, one of these days she's going to be happy she has that child. She told my dad that. And I was back in my room and I was like, that lady is certifiable crazy.
She was
But I'm gonna tell you
certifiably
what,
right.
She was absolutely right.
Are they still alive, your parents?
Gone.
Were they here when you lost Quaya?
No, they were both gone.
It spared them the grief, because you carried the grief of that. Because as a grandparent, that would
have been devastating.
It would
to them,
devastate
because
them.
that was their girl.
I know.
That was their
I know.
baby.
My goodness.
So anyway,
Wow.
but that's, I didn't want to get too much into that, but
I'm nosy. I'm the one who asked.
I know, and that's why you're such an awesome podcaster. That's why we love you. But, so anyway, I relate. I can't speak from the perspective of having been married and dealing with custody issues and all of those things as a single parent, but I know what it's like to be in the trenches with a child and trying to thrive and survive and all of those things. I commend you for what your organization does.
I know.
I commend you. It's amazing.
And I need to clarify. So I was saying earlier that I had a mother. And so this is the Quayas of the world. We have any child of a single parent, we have a mother and a father. So I had a mother and father. But because of things that you didn't have in your life, addiction and alcoholism, that's why my parents, they couldn't stay married. And then my mother married somebody else and couldn't stay married to him. Just sometimes the pattern keeps repeating. You stopped your pattern and that you took control. And that's what I just wish. My mother even had another friend to talk to, or someone that would say, I'll mow your lawn. I mean, I think investing in these people's lives isn't just financial, though it's important, but it's also emotional.
It's emotional.
You had people who loved you, who helped rise the tide, and that's what I think is real important, that anyone watching or listening, if you know a single parent, buy them lunch one day.
Yeah.
Take their kids to the park or whatever's appropriate for that
Help
relationship.
them.
Just
Find a
help
way
them.
to
Just
help
find
them.
a way to help them. Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're going to have to end this conversation. I feel like we could go longer.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
This is what you guys are doing to help single parents and hold these families together is amazing.
It's really
because
cute.
I think you really, in addition to that single parent, you got to think about those kids.
Yep.
Because
Multi-generational
they're our
change.
future.
Yeah,
They're our
for sure.
future. So thank you. Look forward to the event. Again, as I said, it's October 2nd, but some people will see this after it passed. I think we've given them enough food for thought. How do they get in touch with the organization?
Yes, so if you do hear this in time and want to come to the event, we do have some limited day of tickets. So come to the door and we'll happy to allow you and enjoy the lunch with us. But otherwise, please donate. We have a generous donor who is matching all donations. So please give. It's aspsf.org/give. And your donation will be matched twice, even potentially 3 times.
Yay,
So
awesome.
And that acronym stands for Arkansas Single Parent Scholarship Fund.
You got it.
.org. Just aspsf.org. Okay. Jen, Lisa.
Thanks for having
Thank
me, friend.
you.
I will see you guys on
I know.
Thursday.
See you next week.
And that is going to do it for Terrell Talk for this episode. But of course, we'll be back. Have a good one, everybody. So long.